Ooh.
I like that.
I love bundle boxes.
Right.
Ironically, my favourite bundle box artworks are the ones where it's just the Planeswalker symbol in a stylized fashion. So I love like the Kaldheim one.
See, this one's actually kind of boring.
Zendikar of Resurgence. It is boring, but that's a really good artwork. But I think the Midnight Hunt one was good because it was like a really sort of graphic stylized werewolf thing. And then
it was, because it was their alternate artwork was the same thing, of where it was really heavy outline.
Yeah, it was a similar sort of idea. And then Crimson Vow was fine. But it was a bit too cartoony. Again, it was like a flat stylized Olivia, and you're just like, yeah, okay. You could have gone further. It's actually the ones which have just like
where they keep it simple.
They're the best ones. Whereas the ones where they have like a bunch of planeswalkers doing like, hey, I'm doing a stance. I'm like, yeah, I don't really know. They're not very timeless as boxes, you know.
No.
Welcome to Magic the Flavouring, the Magic the Gathering podcast, where we talk about all things Magic, flavour design, and lore. I'm your host, Andy Mann.
Hello, this is Nathan Cancel. Went straight in there, I wasn't ready for it.
I'm on the beers, you're on the tea.
Yeah, well, I've been drinking all day.
You have. You've been out playing Magic, and I've been out at work.
So it's worth flipping the script.
Yeah, I've got to
now I'm all
up.
business and you can have fun. Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, thank you for stopping playing some games to do the pod. As if you're a guest.
Exactly.
Thank you for taking the time.
I don't want to miss it for the world. No, it's good. I've actually opened a little bit, which we're going to... bury the lead. We're going to be doing a little bit later, opening some packs. But yeah, I got to test out a new deck. Rowan Scion of War is as topsy-turvy as you
from the latest set, Wilds of Eldraine.
Yeah, there we go. Boom. Mate bought me a bundle. Speaking of which, we'll be opening a bundle today.
We will
still
be.
Very synergistic, isn't this? Flavour picks, Lost Caverns of Ixalan.
We're doing flavour picks time.
Yeah,
flavour picks time. So, as with all our flavour picks, we'll be looking at either individual cards, artists, run of cards, you name it, we're going to talk about it. Maybe some themes across the set. I think, Nathan, you want to talk a little bit more about mechanics. We're going to talk about some mechanics. And yes, today I picked up my customary bundle of Magic the Gathering cards for each set I buy. And for anyone who is a real nut for Magic the Flavouring, all three of you out there, I love you. You'll know that we did maybe 6 or 7 packed with flavour. Great name for a thing. It's good. I liked it. Packed with flavour YouTube videos where we opened up a pack. We did a crack pack, but then we talked through literally every card, commons and all, about something, whether it was to the artist or the flavour of the card or whatever else it was. So I thought we would combine the two for this one, and whilst talking through our flavour picks of the set, basically do live packed with flavour cracker packs and find the flavour picks in real life Magic the Gathering cards. And obviously we'll tell you what the bloody rares are as well. For anyone who's interested, I might have said it on the preamble, Hunting Velociraptor is the bundle card. And there are Jurassic Park cards in this.
There are.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs and dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I'm wearing a Jurassic Park t-shirt right now.
You are. I'd say, as soon as you walked through the door, I was like, was that deliberate?
Yes, it was. I really love the first film, as I'm sure a lot of people roughly my age, and I mean, it's a timeless classic, but I think it, was it 92? No, when did it come out? Around that time, 93, 94, 95, 96. Something like
I mean, everyone can relate to hating kids, right? Which is the point of that film.
Do you know what? I really don't like kids in films, but the kids in that film are actually really fucking good.
It's a different age where kid actors were actually pretty decent.
Because they were vulnerable.
Yeah, before they had deep trauma in their adult lives.
The kids were like actually fighting dinosaurs, and they weren't total jerks. Like they were kind of like on board with the plan.
They weren't just, we need a teenager in this. What are teenagers? Moody, angry. Yeah, like the latest Barbie film, I couldn't help but hate her the whole time. I was like, stop being such a moody emo teenager. That's such a done trope.
I've heard very mixed things about the Barbie film.
It's definitely worth watching. I think it's definitely... I think your opinion will depend massively on your culture, because I think it aims its message at a very specific part of the world and the way that they treat men and women, and other countries, they don't do that. So the message doesn't pass as well for certain countries, in my opinion.
We'll park that discussion for later. And we'll get into the ins and outs of the Barbie film. So, flavour picks. Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Second time round on Ixalan.
Well, that's the thing, right? As in, half of this set feels like second time round of Ixalan, and then the other half of it was definitely another set that they just put in the middle of Ixalan.
Yeah, we spoke about this last time where this was a different set originally, and then they thought we could set it on Ixalan. But there are some straight up reprints from the last set. Like just straight up reprints. You've got Gishath, Growing Rights of Itlamok.
Treasure Map.
Exactly. And for my money, just off the bat, they're not even flavour picks necessarily. I think this set ties really well into the last one.
Well, they did this with Thalia, right? They just threw back 2 mana Thalia
Yes, they
into
did,
the was it Midnight Hunt or was it
Crimson Vow.
Crimson Vow?
Yeah, but they gave her an artwork that, I mean, I loved that Magali Villeneuve artwork where it was a different Thalia.
Yeah,
but it was
she
functionally
was-
the same card, but it was like she's at a different point.
She was like, oh my god, please, babe, go get a cup of coffee.
she hasn't slept in years.
But yeah, I think so. There's I think. I don't know if it's as obvious to other people as it was to me, but there are certain aspects of this set that I feel like, having read the story and being massively into the story, because obviously we really enjoy the story, as everyone fans of the podcast know. There are aspects of this set that you just look at and you go, but that wasn't in the story. And the story's never going to always, especially when you don't get side stories, or if you only get one, you don't get the 5 side stories, you're not going to get a full spread across the set from a narrative point of view. But there are definitely certain cards that I look at in the set and go, there aren't caverns in it. This isn't about caverns at all. And there are other things that happen within it. I'm not gonna lie, it's all about boats for me. The boats annoy me. I don't know why.
There are more boats than you'd think for a set underground.
Yeah, and like there are certain boats, like the Belligerent, which is very clearly not in the caverns because it never went into the caverns. It's like, so why are we in a set about
Why are we now getting the
caverns?
Belligerent?
Yeah, why? And when you literally had a pirate deck that you could have put it into.
Yeah, for the commander set.
Yeah, so it's things like that I feel like are a little bit dissonant.
Cosmium is a much bigger part of the set than it was of the story. Like, it was hinted to in the story.
By the time the Cosmium comes in, you're in the middle, everything's big, chaotic drama, battle time.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's like, I mean, there was a bit, obviously, with Huatli getting her Cosmian sword, right? And then it kind of, that being her right of, like, being welcomed back into the ancestral family, which I think is quite cute, and I think it's quite nice. I think it's also interesting that Cosmium was harvested from both within and without, because obviously it's going to be within the crust or the mantle or whatever you want to call it of Ixalan, and then from outside down you can dig in and get it, and then from inside out you can dig up
to fly up and get it.
Yeah, so I guess it makes sense from a you need a kind of, not a MacGuffin per se, but I mean if you are in a cavern like environment, it makes sense to have something that's like your power source MacGuffin, and I don't think it's too jarring. I do find its coloration is a bit much. Like it's just
the purple,
just bright purple.
They love a bit of purple for the MacGuffins. Think about like Lazotep being that kind of indigo-y blue purple,
true.
And like anything to do with Liliana is purple. And...
But they did say obviously like when they were giving it up to the cultist, the vampire cultist, because there was apparently in the center of, I don't know how much like square feet the inside like topography would be.
Right.
So if you think about like how many of the Aklakot's fucking priests that they all knew about, I'm like, I know you probably don't want like civil war within your tiny little Dyson sphere world, but surely it's very easy when these people want to like bring back the Dark Age again. Just go and kill them all.
Just go and have a fight.
I get it. I get that you don't want that to be the thing, you don't want to instigate it, but it's just going to end up with them getting Aklakots out and then you fighting them anyway as vampire demons, so maybe just nip it in the bud,
Yeah, I will say that the flavour text in this set also does a lot of work for the story, which they don't always do. Like, what we found in Wilds of Eldraine is that it seemed like there were different stories going on, which could have very easily been side stories, but they were just like whole narratives, like whole fairy tales. And this one, because it is one story with some sort of side conspiracy theory stuff going on. Like the Temple of the Dead, which is the flip side of Aklazot's. The flavour text is Chimil gave the Oltec peace in death. Aklazot's ripped it away, which is a real bit of backstory, because we were speculating like, well, what is Chimil actually something evil that got locked away, or was it a good thing, blah blah blah. Like they didn't really make that totally clear in the story. Whereas this is like, no. Bat God stole the sun because he didn't want them to have an afterlife, which makes his sort of like, what's he about? What's he after? Really cool.
Yeah, so it goes. So it's Chimil's basically the reason why the echoes permeate as they do, which makes sense because we don't see them on the outside, and the outside doesn't have Chimil from the inside.
Yeah,
I guess there's a question then of are the aspects of the threefold sun separate to Chimil? Because I know I saw like this diagram of like all the different gods and godlike figures and avatars of Ixalan, how they're denoted. Some of them to the threefold sun and some of them to Chimil. And so I'll be interested when we go back to see if there's a relation between Chimil and the threefold sun. Because there wasn't any cards about the threefold sun. I don't
they were all the dinosaur avatars.
Exactly. So it was a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't direct. It was a little bit more indirect, like the nuance or the suggestion of it being like a representation of the dawn, and then of midday, and then of dusk, and that all makes sense. And it made sense from a vampire point of view because they were the Legion of Dusk to be like the opposite to the sun, which I think, from a narrative point of view and balancing the set, it actually kind of like it feels quite nice. So it's interesting to have again like this other random sun in the middle that very clearly isn't made up from like hydrogen and what. I'm not assuming most suns in Magic the Gathering are actually made up from scientific elements.
What's the silver moon made out of?
You know what I mean? Well, I mean silver.
Well, no. But what's moon silver? You can't just say that. I was made of moon silver.
Herons, mate. It's just really compressed. You know when people say, could you win against a billion lions? The moon silver sun is a moon is just a billion herons just squashed together. Who's asking you can't win against one lion? Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like the thing is always like a billion lions versus the sun. It's like it's the sun.
Oh, when you talk, what? Right.
Yeah,
so
like talk
100 lions versus a million chickens.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And it's always, I don't know why, but the thing is always like a billion lions. But anyway, we should probably bring this back around to talking about flavour of the set. Mechanics. No, we haven't done this that much recently because a lot of the times we've gone to sets they're either retreading old mechanics or the mechanics weren't necessarily like super worth looking into. But I think this is an interesting one because most of them, if not all of them, are just kind of tweaks on previous existing mechanics, which might be, are we now in the current stage of Magic of where you can't make new mechanics that aren't super convoluted and don't feel overly complicated just to be something different? And I was like, well, we've had all of these mechanics for 30 years. I mean, we're going to do this mechanics episode eventually, by the way, guys. But we've got all of these 30 years worth of mechanics. Is it worth maybe tweaking them to fit the set more? Call it a different name, because it is kind of a different mechanic anyway. But do we perfect it, refine it, flex it a different way? And I know this isn't new news. They've been doing this for years.
Everything is kicker.
This is what I mean. Everything is either a kicker or an ETB. Like, this is like a joke done to death. But this set, it feels much more like that. Because it only lists 4 mechanics, one of which is a direct reprint or reuse, which is Explore, which makes sense. And then you've got
mechanic, by the way.
I think Explore's fantastic. It's top deck manipulation, it's potential graveyard manipulation, it gets lands into your hand, it makes all of the feel bads of a limited environment kind of like go away a little bit. It's like Scry. Scry is really good for the game. If you put Scry or Cycling on a bunch of cards, your limited format will usually run more smoothly because you just get through your cards more. You have more agency of whether or not you need them or not. It's a similar kind of thing of why I think, Hearthstone's so popular, because you kind of get the automatic mana thing. And then there's another card game of where you can play the cards face down as mana instead, and that's their way of doing like a resource system.
What's that one?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's kind of their way of getting around Magic's kind of like, you got to put all the lands in your deck, and if you balance it out, and you could get mana flooded or mana screwed.
I'm trying to think of all the different names for all the different Japanese card games, because there's 1,000 of them. What's the one I'm thinking of? Not Bakugan. That's a thing. Future Force, First Fight Force, Force Fight Future Robot Slam.
I have no idea.
I'm having flashbacks to my trip to Tokyo and being in Akihabara and all the different I'm not even joking, 10-story skyscrapers full of just card vendors and this is the Bakugan floor, and you just go in there and it's just 1,000 people being trading and Bakugan.
How do you stand up? So I've had this recently. I'm just going to keep segueing this episode, but I was walking around, I don't know, somewhere in northish London, and it was a full street of wedding shops, and I'm like, why does it not make sense to spread them out so that you're not in direct competition with each other? Because if you go there, it's what makes this one stand out more from this one, which makes it surely they can't all be doing good business. It's as I've now got to a manager level of my career, and I look at them all, I'm like, how are you all justifying your rent? How are you standing out compared to this one or this one? Yeah, anyway.
There are many people and they all have money.
And I guess, they can all spread out and everyone gets a little bit of the pie, right? Cool. So, for mechanics, Explore we've talked about briefly. We don't need to talk about it too much more. There are some cool cards that do Explore mechanics. I want to talk about it in reference to another mechanic in a moment because I feel like it kind of overlaps a little bit and I'm not sure if I like it. And that's Discover, which is a reskin of Cascade. So instead of it being that you cascade to a mana cost less than the card you're casting, it's a specified amount. So you might, for example, I think there's one card in the set. Quickly go and find it. It's an artifact whip thing. And it does a tap ability, but then I think also for 10 mana or 8 mana you can discover 10. Here it is, Swashbuckler's Whip. The equipped creature has reach, 2 tap to tap a target artifact or creature. Obviously, you're whipping it to hold it at bay. But for 8 mana, and to tap it, using a little bit more expertise, you can use it to discover, which is, I can imagine when you like, you know, when Indiana Jones slashes it around like a beam of some kind and can traverse like a cavern or a chasm or something like that. And it's discovered 10, which means you exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card with mana value 10 or less, cast it without paying its mana cost, or put it into your hand, and then put the rest in the bottom in a random order. Now this fixes a few of the Cascade issues already, in that you don't... I mean, they haven't done any discover less than 4, which is really important because a lot of the Cascade decks that are in Eternal formats run 3 mana Cascade effects, and they cascade into something that either costs 0s. They don't have a mana cost suspend cards. You know, there's one that makes 2 rhinos, 2 4/4 rhinos, and then there's other ones. There's a balanced one, all that kind of nonsense. This gets around that a little bit by making sure that there's no cards that are too low on the mana cost. They've learnt their lesson a little bit. The fact that it happens typically when the card ETBs, like there's a dinosaur that does it, and when it's not when you cast it that you get the trigger, the creature has to enter the battlefield. So if you counter the spell, it will counter the ETB trigger because it will never happen. So it kind of gets around the freebie aspect of Cascade, of where, you know, you cast a Cascade spell and it doesn't matter. Like Maelstrom Wanderer, for example, one of my most loved commander decks, like the guarantee value, if you pay 8 mana, I'm at least going to get 2 spells. You know?
I don't know if they picked up that audible sigh that I did.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they did. I'm sure you're going to up the volume. But I get it. I mean, it's 8 mana, man. If I get to 8 mana, you deserve what's coming. But you know, you're guaranteed to I'm in the middle of talking.
Right, on our Twitter page, there is a link tree to our respective tapped outs with a lot of our EDH decks on there. Is your Maelstrom Wanderer deck on there?
I don't know if it's updated. It might still be.
Doesn't matter. Look at all the fucking mana doublers and shit. Oh, if I get to 8 mana
for everyone.
Yeah, but no one has like an 8 mana. I win the game in their command zone.
Do you know when the mana doubler works? And it works on turn 7 when I have 7 mana. I use 3 of it for my mana flare, and then I use the 4 mana I have left over. So it's only 1 turn earlier. Okay, I might as well have just cast a Cultivate. Anyway, point being, with Cascade, you get the guaranteed value as you cast it. With Discover, you usually have to wait for the creature or whatever to enter the battlefield, or for you to activate it to get the Discover ability. Even one of the cards that I think we're talking about, Hit the Motherlode, it costs 8 mana, and I think it discovers 10.
I can tell you. Bundle, the promo card is Hit the Motherlode with Alternate Arc by Bram Sells. Sorcery for 4/3 red. 4/3 red. What the fuck does that mean? 43 red. 4 colourless, 3 red. Discover 10. If the discovered card's mana value is less than 10, create a number of tapped treasure tokens equal to the difference. If the discard covers... So what? So you discover...
So you discover 10, so you flip cards off the top until you hit anything that costs 10 or less.
Oh.
And then obviously you cast... You're not likely to hit a 10 mana card.
This makes me really want to rebuild my Zephyr deck. It really does.
Got all the cards that go
so
into
many
it.
Like huge mana value costing
really
spells
cool
and
players,
sorceries
right?
that just do like. Can you do 2 splashy things in a game and not do anything else? Yes.
Yeah,
okay, that's
absolutely.
Zephyr.
Well, welcome to Maelstrom Wanderer. But yeah, so it's kind of a bit fixed. It also gives it some more agency because with Cascade you're forced to cast the spell or put it on the bottom. With this, if you don't want to cast it, you just put it into your hand. So you can put counter spells into your Discover deck and it won't be anti-tech. I'm even thinking about putting one of the Discover counter spells in because I can't remember which one it is. It's a blue one, but it actually works well with Maelstrom Wanderer, whereas a lot of counter spells don't work with Maelstrom Wanderer. Anyway, point being, it's Cascade, but fixed. I don't think any of the cards are egregious. It seems kind of cool, but in terms of terminology, to discover 10, and I think the prime example is Quintorius Cand on his Planeswalker card. His -3 or whatever is Discover 4. And he's a 5 mana Planeswalker. So essentially what you're doing is you're casting a Planeswalker that has Cascade. Because he comes in, you minus him, you get Discover 4, he costs 5, blah, 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 blah. And the idea is, I guess, that instead of exploring of where you're just kind of like purveying like the next little room or whatever, you're just looking a little bit further ahead and you don't know what you're going to get, and then depending on what you see is kind of what you do. You know, if you find a land and you go further, and if you don't find a land you gain experience, and that's what the +1/+1 counter represents. That's quite succinct. With Discover, the idea is you're guaranteed to find something, you just don't know what you're gonna find yet. But in my mind, those two like ideas overlap massively, and I feel like there's not enough of like a real world flavour difference for me between exploring and discovering for them to feel like they put the 2 words in And yeah, okay, the two abilities as I've just described them do work, but I feel like, again, that overlap, I don't know why, it just feels a little bit invasive to both of them. It doesn't. I feel like Explore doesn't let Discover stand out enough, and then Discover kind of like takes a little bit of the spotlight from Explore, being able to kind of have a second go and trying to figure out what it wants to do. I mean, Explore's had three sets by now, so there's not many more directions they can go with it. Flavorly, I like it. I think it's powerful. I think it's cool. I like cascade effects. Fight me. The next one, now we've done Explore and Discover, is Descend, which is yet another. If half the mechanics in Magic the Gathering are kicker, the other half are threshold in my mind. Or other abilities such as. Now, threshold's a mechanic from years back. I can't remember exactly what set it started in, but I think we're talking like Odyssey years, and it's basically if you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard, the card will either get a bonus or it'll have an additional effect. It's also kind of similar to Delirium in that Descend cares about permanents going into your graveyard.
Introduced in Odyssey.
Yeah.
Fucking you 360.
Did I know?
That was it, yeah.
Mate, I'm next level.
Absolutely no scoped it.
And also kind of fucked up a little bit because the thing I'm describing isn't Descent, it's Fathomless Descent, which is another thing I'm not entirely sure I enjoy, because Fathomless Descent feels like a middle ground between these flavor mechanics we've been having recently.
Yes.
And it feels like then your traditional Magic set, which has distinctive, specific set mechanics.
I mean, for me, it falls into the Morph Megamorph thing, which I'm not a big thing.
Exactly.
And Manifest, like, they're all the same thing.
Yeah.
But they're like, tweaked it slightly.
Yeah, because Descend is if a permanent was put into your graveyard from anywhere, be it milling, discarding, sacrificing, then that counts to trigger it. Fathomless Descent counts the number of permanents in your graveyard. And they're similar enough, but they're different enough that they have different keywords, but they're kind of wrapped in together. Even on the wiki page, Fathomless Descent isn't listed as a secondary mechanic, it's listed within the Descend mechanic. Mm-hmm. And again, I think that's cool. But again, you're descending is like, so you're going further down.
Yeah.
But does that mean you're going further down your library because your graveyard's getting larger?
I see now. Yeah, for me, that would suggest that you're digging deeper. They've been doing a lot recently where they've keyworded mill, for example. People know that it's called digging if you're going into your deck. That seemed more likely to me than putting things into your graveyard.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it kind of, again, there's a little bit of a dissonance. Again, it's something they've already done. Delirium worked quite well, but it felt, as having actually played that limited format a fair bit when it came out, it was quite... The payoffs weren't big enough for how much you had to try and force getting 4 different types into your graveyard, And they tried very hard to try and make it work. Similar to kind of how with Wilds of Eldraine, of where they put the rolls in to ensure you had more token and enchantment synergy within the set to make all of the different archetypes work together. And I like Fathomless Descent as a mechanic. I like Descent as an idea, but again, this weird kind of separation, having 2 different keywords, kind of irked me just a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the last mechanic, also not being really its own new mechanic, was Craft. Now, Craft is... I'm going to make sure I get this exactly right, because the wording on it is a little bit specific. So by paying a cost and exiling permanents from either play or your graveyard, you then flip the card, and it will be usually a specific thing like Craft with Artifact, or Craft with Dinosaur, or Craft with, any number of specifications.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, it will essentially look like, okay, well, you've taken this weapon, you've added this to it, and then what does it kind of transform into? Let me find a good example. Okay, so a good example of this being Unstable Glyph Bridge, 3 white, where it's an artifact when Unstable Glyph Bridge enters the battlefield. If you cast it, for each player, choose a creature with power 2 or less that player controls, then destroy all creatures except creatures chosen this way. You can craft with an artifact for 3 white, only able to do it as a sorcery. And if you do so, it basically, you exile it and whatever you have to craft it with, you return it to the battlefield, and it comes in as Sandswell Wanderglyph, which I guess is the bridge collapsing with some cosmium as it goes down, and it kind of forms itself up into a golem. And I guess the idea for them is that they want this kind of transformative nature anyway. They have transform cards in the set as well.
Quite a lot of them.
As well as the craft. And I think the idea is they wanted another way to add... flip it like a 2-sided aspect, because these aren't transforming, you activate them specifically to flip them, and they I mean, it's cool, it's considered you return this card transformed under its owner's control rather than being up just for transforming it, but it's an activation rather than a triggered ability. I think they wanted there to be enough to justify having the print sheets having enough two-face cards. Fair enough, cool, not a problem. It's just bad meld.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked meld in the fact you saw one side and the other side individually. You put them together. Yeah, it's clunky because on the opposite side it's like a two-faced card. If you don't have see-through sleeves, then it can be a bit awkward. You've got to take them out and put them back in. Taking cards out and putting them back in again is just a transform issue. It's been an issue for every set that's done it, which is basically...
Oh, as a werewolf player, don't I know it?
It's basically every set recently has a different way of transforming. And I get it because real estate, card real estate, space, all of that nonsense. It's interesting as well that most craft cards, because they have such a long and lengthy reminder text after them, tend to relegate flavor text off the front side, and for some they still manage to find space on the back side, but for others, specifically Unstable Glyphbridge and Sandswell Wonderglyph, there isn't flavor text on either side. And it'd be quite cool when you're telling a story in the card, if the story isn't super necessarily grokkable because you're choosing what to craft the artifact with, it'd be nice for them to have told me how the Sandswell Wonderglyph kind of formed.
Yeah.
I had to make it up when I was saying it earlier about, I guess it's with Cosmium that it fuses with, because in the artwork it's got this purple glow within it, so I'm assuming that all the rubble fell, fused with the Cosmium.
From what I gather, all of the golems and gnomes, which I'll get onto, the fact that I have to say golems and gnomes in the same set, I think they're all Cosmium-powered constructs.
Yeah. So I guess the idea is that this glyph bridge only would have been, but then you're choosing to craft. Again, there's a little bit of a dissonance with craft as well, as a planeswalker, how are you forcing this to happen? And in certain cards, I think it works and it's very grokkable. With other ones, I think it's just mechanical. It's more of a Mel thing than it is a Vorthos thing. Fine, not a problem. Those are all the mechanics from the set, as you can probably hear from as I'm talking about them. I think a lot of them, again, it's a retread and a refumble of some of older mechanics, maybe slightly better purposed. I don't have an issue with the saying because, again, it makes sense from a set point of view to go down. And I like this idea that it's not just milling, it's also discarding, it's also sacrificing. It allows multiple different colours to find different ways to do the same thing, which I think is quite cool. And I also really like graveyard mechanics anyway. I think it's a little bit easier than, say, Threshold, where you have to hit a certain amount. It's also interesting that one of them gets fucked over by exile effects, whereas the other one doesn't. Because if you descend and then the card is exiled, you still descended. It still will trigger the descend keyword, whereas Fathomless Descent requires the permanents to still be in your graveyard. So if you get Bajuka Bogged or whatever, that then kind of ruins your Fathomless Descent, but Descend itself won't be affected. So, there's a little bit of playability. I think they're all fine and dandy. I don't have any issues with them particularly. Again, it's just when I start to really pick them apart, it feels like there's a little bit of overlap and a little bit of I don't know, just it rubs me ever so slightly the wrong way. But, I mean, again, from a gameplay point of view, I think they work very well. I think maybe just from a Vorthosian point of view, they don't match up quite as well.
I mean, obviously, we haven't had a lot of chance to play a lot of these sets. No, I don't think either of us pre-released did we?
No.
But from what I gather, not only are the mechanics kind of interesting, but also just looking at the cards themselves and the theme of the set, when it comes to things like flying and reach, in the story at least, there was lots of... there are so many factions that fly in this set. And I was just, as you were talking, I was just thinking through. You've got vampires, vampire demons, bats, giant bat riders, kite sail people. You've got kite sail people, pirates with kite sails, sirens. You've got birds.
There aren't any pterodactyls in the centre, really, are there?
No, but there's Bonehorde Dracosaur.
Actually, thinking about it, were there any dinosaurs in the centre? Like, there must be, because quite some of them, right?
Yeah,
you don't see as many, right? It does feel like dinosaurs are more outside than inside.
My point is, there's loads of things that fly in the
loads
set.
Of flappy flaps.
I think there's 33 cards in the set that has the word flying on it, either as a sorcery that gives it, or like an enchantment or something, as well as the creatures. But they've also done a really good job of having things in the set which give reach.
I was going to say, there's a lot of artifacts.
There's 8 cards, which is a lot. 8 cards that various things give reach or have reach. So I think playing it out is going to feel very much like you're having this kind of melee of like attacks from above or below in the Dyson sphere, however you want to look at it, versus people on the ground firing things into the air. Like you've got the needle dart gun.
Yeah,
you've got
the road dart's very cool.
Like there's just so much stuff, and I just think looking through this set, I think they've done a very good job of actually making it feel like you are playing out the setting, which not every set can do all the time. Like Wilds of Eldraine, I think failed ever so slightly because it felt like it was almost like Super Smash Brothers for, fantasy fairy tale when actually playing it. Whereas this feels like you've got like a whole I'm having a bunch of bats attack me. How am I going to sort of, navigate this idea?
Sure, I guess, Wilds of Eldraine was, as you said before, like multiple different stories. And it's like, which story are you telling in your deck? Are you telling the Hansel and Gretel story? Are you telling the Sleeping Beauty story? Are you telling the Ice Queen story? Whereas this is like, it's a skirmish. You fight, it feels like, as you say, the melee is a little bit more justified and it feels more... what's the word I'm looking for? It feels more tangible.
Coherent as well, yeah.
Coherent, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. So, should we start looking into some actual specifics?
Yeah. Yeah, I've got some cards I wouldn't mind
I've
talking
got some
about.
cards I wouldn't mind talking about. But you go ahead, because I trusted a lot before.
Cards. Let's talk about the gods.
Thank you. Yeah, good one to start with.
Oher Axanil, Oher Kazlam, Oher Pakpatik, Oher Tuk, and then the black god, Aklazot's deepest betrayal.
Or is the black god the ancient one? Question mark.
Could be.
But let's talk about the cycle specifically.
Yeah. So, each of these gods, so we've got god cards again. Yet another plane with actual tangible gods that actually have cards that actually do shit. Every plane that has god cards, they tend to do their own sort of thing. I think they're starting to really push further away now from the idea of gods having sort of like an intangible quality. Because if you look at the Therosian gods, they only became tangible with devotion, which is very flavorful. Amonkhet gods, they were there, but then they, like, if they died...
Well, they could also, like, change their... They felt very unspecified.
Yeah.
They were present, but they were also not very... Like, they weren't easy to talk... I mean, I guess you could actually sit in there and talk to them, but it felt very, like... I guess maybe because of the way that Nicobolus bound them to their ley lines, they might have felt like they weren't actually the true form of themselves.
Yeah.
Potentially.
But I think it's because they... So the actual function on the card was that they couldn't attack or do the things they needed to do unless there was a certain quota met.
Unless you hit what they wanted from you, they weren't able to help you.
Yeah, exactly, because they were testing you, or like they wanted certain conditions to actually like be present. The gods of Kaldheim were, like their flavour, were basically just normal mortal beings that achieved immortality, but they were indestructible. Yeah. And then you could also, they had their like thing, right? So like, you know, Burgie's horn or whatever else. These gods, again, are very tangible. It's not like they'll, you know, they're indestructible. You can kill them. You don't have to meet a certain quota for them to activate or whatever. They have their trample. They have some sort of evasion. So, for example, the red god and the green god, Axnil and Kazlem, have trample. I think I'm pronouncing Axnil wrong. Maybe it's Ashanil. I'm not quite sure. Sorry about that. Pakpatik has flying and Tak has vigilance, and Aklazot's also has flying because it's a giant bat god. They all have some sort of, like, you know, ability on the sort of second paragraph, but then the third paragraph is the same for all of them. When X god dies, return it to the battlefield tapped and transformed under its owner's control. So if I look at Oja Tak, for example, the white god, deepest foundation, it has vigilance. If one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, 3 times that many tokens are created instead. Fucking bonkers.
Can they stop with this 3 times thing? Because they always put it in Marrow's little teaser of like, if this thing would happen 3 times, 3 times is too many. Mm-hmm. City on fire, triple damage. Fire emancipation, triple damage. It's and then this new the new fucking vitality Eldraine enchantment thing. 3 times the amount of mana. Nyx Blonde Angel. Stop with 3 times. 2 times is enough.
I'm getting annoyed because every time I open a white token doubler or even a green one, I think, oh, fucking awesome! I've got the new doubling season, and they just keep making a better one. I'm like, oh, come on, man! Like what was it? Muldrak or whatever it is.
Yeah, Muldrak. But you also then had like Muldrak. Yeah, because actually I think that's the best one out there because it can become indestructible very easily.
And it is only 4 mana.
And it also doubles any creatures, any tokens, not just creature tokens. Whereas this is specifically creature tokens.
That flips when it dies and comes back into Temple of Civilization. They all basically become a land, which can tap for the colour of.
Interestingly, not a legendary land.
Not a legendary land. Because you have multiple temples to the
same
same god.
That's the thing, you can build multiple temples to the same god. It's a flavour win, not a flavour
Temple of Cyclical Time, which is the blue one, has remove a time counter from Temple of Cyclical Time because the front face had something to do with time counters. That's the only one that doesn't just tap for a mana. But then it has a 3 and a tap ability to transform it back into the god if some sort of task has been met. And again, I think this is the flavorfully alluding to, is that the gods are tangible in this world, and indeed in like Mesoamerican ancient mythology and like pantheon of gods, they are very tangible. They're not sort of some abstract idea. You then, when they went away in the mists of time, you build the temple to them, but then if you perform a task or make some sort of like, you know, mortal achievement or sacrifice or something similar, like sacrifice of your, like, you know, your life's work to devotion or whatever, they come back because you've awakened them again. And we saw this in the story where Aklazotz was trying to be awakened. He was still there. I'm using the male pronoun. I think that's right. Like, they were physically there, but they were... I think they were chained, so it was like the devotion. But to awaken and break the bonds, you had to like fulfill some sort of thing.
Sacred rite.
So for Temple of Civilization, it's transform Temple of Civilization, activate only if you attacked with 3 or more creatures this turn, and only as a sorcery. Right? Chimil gave the Oltec life. O'Hare Tak taught them how to live together. Very, very white.
I think all of the flavor texts for them do a similar trope of they say what Chimil gave to the Oltec, and then what the god was able to give them in terms of like, you know, again, on a more tangible basis. I think it's very interesting, as you say, that all of them have that ability to be able to flip back into the god again. And having this ability to flip back and forth is something that I think is really important with transform cards. I think some of them, it's a bit annoying that once you flip them, you never get the option to go back again. Like, it's one of the things I liked about werewolves, like both sides of... what's the one where it makes your creatures cheaper on the flip side, but then you can search for creatures on the front side?
Oh, I should know. It's really fucking good.
Duskwatch Recruiter.
That's it.
Boom. And the idea is that in the first half, you're getting all the creatures in your hand, and then when you flip it, all of the creatures you've got in your hand now cost less to put into play, and then once you've got them in play and he flips back...
That's an insane uncommon as well.
Yeah, right.
Even
there are some
decks.
insane uncommons in this set, to be fair. I don't know if we're going to talk about them, but uncommon strength is going through the roof at the moment. But I like this, again, as you say, this idea, this gameplay pattern of where gods can die. They're really strong, they do a really cool thing, they can die, but they won't die forever. And it's much harder to interact with the land, and then once, as you say, the land and the people, whatever, fulfill what the god would need to come back again. It's like a really cool fantasy trope. Like, I think I've mentioned in the past Raymond E. Feist and his books, and one of the main arcs in that is that there's this really evil demon god, and even the thought of his, like, no one knows their name, because even if you thought their name, that would be enough for them to come back enough to start destroying everything. And the idea, again, is that you know, you need the devotion, similar to how the Theros gods work, of where without the devotion, you're not really anything, you know?
Yeah.
But with the devotion, you then fully form into something that can attack and block.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool. Really nice cycle. Speaking of whether or not it's a true cycle, out of all 5 of them, only one of them has an additional typing. Aclazotz being a backed god, which I think denotes the fact that it isn't a true god. I think that god title is kind of...
Well, I think the fact that it doesn't have O'Hare as a prefix is also
precisely.
Yeah.
And it's the fact that, I mean, yes, deepest betrayal, and the fact that you go down to the ancient one, a 2-mana mythic multicolored card, blue and a black for an 8/8 legendary spirit god, which is very interesting because it's got a similar kind of head shape. I mean, I say that because all of the other 4 gods look quite different, but it has a similar kind of semi-ethereal quality.
They're all based on real-world Mesoamerican like god heads. So yeah.
And then the idea is it doesn't have similar abilities. It doesn't have the ability to come back as a land because obviously no one believes it anymore. And I think the idea is that it was usurped by Aclazotz, and it's just been Aclazotz, and it's been so long now that there's not even a temple to the ancient one anymore. You know, it's been that long in history that they've been gone for. But I mean, it is rising from a temple in the artwork, and there is a random dude stood there in front going, "Hey, ancient god." So maybe who knows? Maybe if we come back,
there's always someone who remembers.
Maybe they'll return back to the pantheon once Aclazotz has been destroyed in the next set.
Or is there to challenge Aclazotz to
exactly.
reclaim.
Who knows? But it's quite cool that you've got this flavour sat there, but you kind of have to fill in the gaps a little bit yourself.
I do like these gods. I still think the Theros gods are goated only because just of how they work as a card.
I also enjoy the fact that we managed to see the two pairing as well. It's the fact we got the full pantheon. Ooh. 5 monocolour and then 10 dual colour.
The Theros ones,
and that each of them had their own specific, like, this is what I'm in charge of. Like, I think that was really clever, really cool. These are, again, it's a little bit, again, they say deepest might and, you know, deepest growth and that kind of thing, and they represent aspects of civilization. Again, I think maybe also because the amount of people within the old tech that are within the middle is less. Maybe their devotion is less than the Therosian ones because there's more people on Theros. Who knows? I mean, I'm now just kind of like spitballing.
We're conflating the real world inspirations for these things with the in-world planar Magic the Gathering realizations.
The metaverses.
And I think we'll tie ourselves up in little knots if we do that.
Yeah, so, I mean, again, cool.
I like
to
it.
see
I think they're cool.
Round.
Yeah,
exactly. Sweet.
You must have more to talk about.
Oh, I have loads. It's just they're all kind of like, none of them are very like okay, right. What defines a dragon, Andy?
Oh god, are we talking about Bonehorn Dracosaur?
Yeah, we are talking about Bonehorn Dracosaur.
Fuck Bonehorn Dracosaur.
How can you be a dragon and a dinosaur? Is it not at that point? It's just a lizard. Because both of them are lizards.
Just nothing matters anymore.
Just like, why can't... Like, so what we're going to... I know that Naga are now snakes, but now snakes are just going... We're just going to do reptile as a creature type.
Oh, that's happened since we recorded our last podcast. We won!
We did it, boys! We did it!
Yeah, it was absolutely us and not the rest of, the culturally relevant society who was like, this is a bit weird.
We might not have been the largest voice, but we're definitely one of the loudest. Well, I say we, Andy Man specifically. But, yeah.
I, as a Western white man, I'm not going to claim anything to do with, like, the intricacies of naming and that's it.
Fair enough.
But I'm glad they did it.
Yeah, so I don't know. See, there are certain types of where you see them side by side, and you're like, does it? Like, as you were saying earlier, and I'm sure we're going to get onto it. If you put Gnome and Golem on the same type line, isn't that redundant? And in the same fashion, if you put Dinosaur and Dragon on the same type line, isn't that just redundant? Apart from being able to go in both different type decks, what are you really like? What are you doing?
One of our biggest sort of. I was going to say the word fan, and that's so up on my own arse. I don't want to say that.
Saying fan?
Well, I don't know. I feel like we talk to people rather than having like fans of the podcast.
I'm sure that's
one of the people who engages with us the most on social media are Temi at Negative Silence on X or Twitter, if you'd prefer. Brought this up apropos of nothing. I was talking to people about the set, and they were like, fucking Bonehor Dracosaur. And they were tweeting about how it's ridiculous. They make a valid point, and this is a point I think we both agree with. So on Dragon Skull Summit from the original...
I've got that in brackets.
Yeah. From the original Ixalan set. Obviously, Dragon Skull Summit, I don't think that wasn't the first time it was printed in there. But it was reprinted, and it's a big dinosaur-shaped mountain, which is fucking cool as shit. Elena Danner artwork. When the Planeswalker Angrath called dinosaurs dragons, quote unquote, because he's a fucking Planeswalker.
He's from another fucking plane where dragons are a thing and dinosaurs aren't.
I mean, it might not even be that his own plane has dragons, but he's definitely seen them before. The name stuck in certain pirate circles. Not that there were fucking dinosaur dragons
already in the middle of the plane, which makes even less sense. Why is it a dragon, Andy? Why did they do this? Why did they feel
because they can't help themselves.
It's like Rudolph. Let's make a vampire angel. That's really cool. Let's not justify it at all. That's no longer cool. You've ruined it. You fucked it. So great.
I think that tweet was in response to I was talking about the Dragons of Innistrad, right? Because Jeffrey Palmer reposted a living animation that he did, which I reposted and was like, yeah, fuck yeah, Innistrad had wicked dragons, and a lot of people just went, oh yeah, Innistrad had dragons. That's kind of weird. I'm like, yeah, I guess it kind of is, but like, this is egregious. Like
the thing I like about sets like that is that or dragons like that is that the set doesn't really need the dragons, so you kind of have to give them a very specific kind of like art style or the way that they work. I mean, I'm not saying a Balefire dragon does anything that other dragons don't do, which is I kill everything when I attack. Fine, cool, whatever. But I like the fact that, say, like, the Moonsilver dragons had this translucent wing. We've talked about this before as well. Yeah. And, like, I think Mirror Wing dragon is, like, a Zarda kind of type of way. It targets everything else. Cool. That's what I like. Like, make it feel individualistic. This is just a fly. It's just a big pterodactyl.
Yeah.
You know? And you call it a Dracosaur, and I'm like, no. Okay, no. I don't like it. Not a fan. Hey, because again, as you say, Angrath, it's almost like it's an in-world known thing that Angrath introduced the word into it, and maybe from a biological point of view, it technically from a DNA point of view is maybe also a dragon. But I mean, like, Magic has never followed proper DNA; it's only just listed Nagas as snakes. So no, don't like it. Disagree.
In the set of flying dinosaurs, you could have just left it.
Yeah. Otherwise, why isn't a pterodactyl also a dragon? Again, what defines a dragon?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even have fire breathing. It doesn't even have the ability fire. It just makes treasures, because apparently that's what dragons like. Dragons like treasures.
That's what dragons do now.
Fucking stupid. I like how we've gone from, like, praise to just vitriolic anger.
Well, that was dumb.
Should we go for something that's quite cute?
Go on.
Lightning Strike, original Ixalan. Storm on the horizon, Captain. Grick Dubin, last words.
Yes.
Hunt the Weak, Rivals of Ixalan. Death Lizard approaching, Captain. Brint Dubin, last words. Hunter's Blowgun.
Yeah.
Ow, I think a wasp just stung me, Captain. Nurk Dubin, last words.
Also gives reach.
How many Dubins are there and how many are left? Because these poor buggers.
Mama and Papa Dubin must be sat in their little flotilla just being like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they keep getting letters back. It's like, ugh.
Dumb fucking sons.
To be fair, one was struck by lightning, one was eaten by a dinosaur, and one was hit by a poisoned blow dart. I mean, it's not like they keep falling for the same thing.
Maybe they're the bravest pirates of all.
Right, and you've got to assume that, I mean, yes, specifically from the lightning strike artwork, that they're of course goblins, but it's just last words will never not be one of my favourite flavour texts on any flavour cards. I don't know if Lurgoyf was the original with Safi Eric's last words, but it might be. I think
we should do a mini episode on all the last words because there's been quite a few.
And
now.
It's quite interesting to go into because you can kind of divulge into a little bit. But yeah, I think that triplet is really, really cool. And again, I like through line stories, even if they're not specific. Like I like the idea of the progression and then again just seeing them all die in various different ways. I just think it's quite funny. The Dubins, the poor Dubins. I
love it.
Go.
A video Cartanega is the artistic director on this set, and whatever they brought to the set, they fucking loved the artwork of John Tedrick. So John Tedrick, who has had plenty of cards in Magic by this point, has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different dinosaur cards in this set. That's a lot for one artist in any given set for any given thing.
Type it in. How similar do they all look? That's the question. Right?
Well, as I was going through on Scryfall, going like, I want to talk about this card, I want to talk about this card, I got about 3 John Tedrick cards in before I went, hang on, this is all the same fucking artist. And then I typed it in the little Scryfall thing, and lo and behold, 8 different dinosaur cards. There's this flat-ass art style that John has brought in that is just so suited. And what it is, I mean, obviously, again...
they're not actually that similar either, to be fair.
They're not really. So I think the most similar ones are Rampaging Spiketail and Nurturing Bristleback. So you've got Nurturing Bristleback, Armoured Kincaller, Seismic Monstrosaur, Scytheclaw Raptor. You can tell they had fun naming these dinosaurs. Rampaging Spiketail, Sinuous Benthesaur, Marauding Brinefang, and Soaring Sandwing. And yeah, again, there's this style, a lot of them, and I think it's a style that they've clearly looked at the style guide given to them by the art director and thought, cool, there's a lot of Mesoamerican art going on here, there's a lot of very traditional art styles, there's lots of sort of flat painted art styles going on here, and he's brought that to his dinosaur design, but without it necessarily aping like that exactly. Do you know what I mean? It's really colourful, it's really fun.
They've all got the same, all but a couple have a very pronounced like runic aspect to them as well.
Yeah.
Again, like this Rampaging Spiketail has like the triangular line effect that you'll see on a lot of like Mesoamerican like art style. Again, like you've got squarish patterns as well that are very similar to what they were looking at when they were opening the door to get in the story when they were talking about the runic.
Marauding Brinefang has some flavor text that says ancient glyphs are a lot harder to decipher when attached to an apex predator.
Could you imagine if it just says danger, keep away?
Yeah.
It's like, what does that say? Oh god, no, I got too close.
Not suitable as a pet.
Yeah, you should be running now. Or it's like that bumper sticker. It's like if you can read this, you're too close.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. Do you know what's funny when you're saying this? And I noticed this looking through the set, and it's kind of ruined. I don't know if it's ruined Magic as a whole for me because that's a big statement to say. But card naming, is it just descriptive word and noun? And then descriptive word and noun? Because this set's really guilty of this. As you were reading it, it's literally 2 words. Nurturing Bristleback, Armoured Kincaller. It's almost like descriptive word, and then it's like I don't know what you'd call it. My language knowledge isn't as good as it used to be, but like how it says Kincaller or Bristleback, where it's like the back has bristles. You know, it's a caller of the kin, and you add that word together and make it into one word, like when you Germanize it, where you add all of the different words together and make it one.
Well, all right. I'm gonna random Scryfall card. Let's see. Random card on Scryfall. Merfolk token doesn't help us. Groundskeeper, 1 word.
Okay, what I mean is modern.
Right.
Modern writing.
Rising populace.
There we go. The populace that is rising. Good. Noun and descriptive word.
Gavi, Nest Warden. Does it apply to
legendary creatures like they're named?
All right. Lumbering Light Shield.
There we go. It's a light shield that's lumbering.
1 more. Temporary Lockdown.
Lockdown was temporary.
Yeah, but
It's a
that's
thing in the script
language,
of it.
isn't it?
I know, but it's weird. No, but this is what I mean. This is why I think I've ruined Magic for me, because it not inspiring refrain. Like it never really clocked until I was going through, and I couldn't help but when I noticed it, and it was specifically dinosaurs, because they go the kind of dinosaur it is and what it's doing, and I found it really, really specifically obvious with this set, and now it's kind of like flair of loyalties. Like it's adding little things like you or a card like you are already dead. I guess it's different when you have instants and sorceries that are actions compared to like creatures which are like a specific like thing, you know, that's alive, and you've got to kind of give it a descriptive word, and you've got to kind of name it anyway. So I get it. It's just something I noticed, and I hope that whoever's listening to this is now going to take that, and now every time they look through a Magic the Gathering pack, they go, motherfuckers ruined Magic the Gathering for me. Because it kind of, I'll forget it every now and again, but then I'm going to keep reminding myself whenever I see too many of them in the same set. And this set I just think is a little guilty, because there's only so many interesting things you could call different dinosaurs before it's just another dinosaur.
True enough.
And then here's another dinosaur.
Right, do you want to do one more card before we crack some packs, or what?
Yeah, shit. I've got so many random little
We
bits
might
of
find
flavour.
them in the packs.
I've got loads of it. Oh, one thing I guess is interesting is it jarring for new players to have a random adventure card in the set?
No, I think it's fine.
You think it's fine?
Because I think we're talking about Kellen, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that's something that if a brand new player was to open up, would just ascribe to him.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
This
fair
card
enough.
has this mechanic.
Okay, well that was a question, not a flavour pick. My flavour pick is Squirming Emergence, which is hilarious. Let me just quickly get it up. Emergence. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Just going to put Squirming in, that'll bring it up. There we go. 1 black, green, sorcery, Fathomless Descent. Return to the battlefield target non-land permanent card in your graveyard with mana less than or equal to the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. Actually a really strong card for 3 mana, basically reanimate whatever you want if you're in a mill deck. Flavor text. Due to the archaic Brazen Coalition guidelines regarding hats, a few mycoids are now technically pirate captains. And it's just a little fungus that's attached to a skull that still has the captain hat on it. And the idea is this little fungus that's just creeping along is the captain of a ship. No?
I mean, I like it.
Is that too twee?
No, well, they've got capybaras in this set. Like, do you know what I mean? They've lent into it.
And I just like the idea of where it's like, you know, the pirate code is more a set of guidelines than actual rules. It just kind of evokes that kind of idea a little bit.
Did you just quote Pirates of the Caribbean?
How are you not supposed to in the set about pirates, you know? You know? Did we moan on air about the fact that there's loads of boats in the caverns? Or was that before the episode started?
I think we've spoken about it.
We did, good, cool. That's my last guy. Why are there boats in the caves, Andy? Why do there have to be boats in the caves?
Angels? We've got 2 angels in this set.
Again, without justification, let me just quickly check to see.
Is this a dinosaur dragon situation?
No, I think it's fine, but I want to check quickly.
Because they weren't in the story.
Is there flavour text on the 2 mana one? I think there is, so just let me quickly check.
So one of them is a
reprint
of Resplendent Angel.
Yeah, which fair enough.
Artwork,
really
fucking beautiful, by the way.
Stunning.
Victor
the feather
Adame
effect
Mingus
on it is really cool.
And the other one is Guardian of the Great Door.
What's the flavour text on that one?
The core was sealed long ago by the deep gods, who set the angels the eternal task of defending its golden gates.
So my question to you is, knowing that angels are manifestation of white mana, demons being manifestation of black mana.
Traditionally,
we don't ever really question demons on any planes.
It's true.
Why should we question angels?
No, fine. Yeah, cool.
You know, that's the way I look at it.
Yep,
we don't have a direct analog
me.
for the other ones, but that's the way I kind of look at it.
Sick. There are many other cards that we can talk about. This is a very interesting set.
Yeah.
But there are fucking booster packs in the room with us that I want to open.
That's fine. Do it. Yeah, do it.
And we can do some flavour unpacking and flavour picking as we go.
I really hope you open just one mythic rare, because
that was a bit of ASMR. I hate that joke. Whenever there's any sort of like noise that shouldn't be on a podcast, people go, "Oh, that's ASMR."
It's not. I mean, there's some people out there who really like the sound of rustling plastic, but I'm sure if you're trying to listen to my voice whilst this is happening, it's a bit jarring.
All right, cool. What have I got here? Is there anything that I want to talk about? We will announce our rares as we hit them, or our legendaries as we go. Ooh. So I've got Kutzil, Malamet Exemplar.
These are set boosters, by the way, which are a little bit more interesting than draft.
I'm gonna do a correction from last episode. I said Malacat. It is the Malamet.
Oh, and we also put it in Till, and he's just Inti. And also, it's not Leshrac, it's Limdal. There's a lot of mistakes in last week's episode. Oh. I know.
Restless Reef is my rare in this one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that actually brings me on to a fantastic point. At what point...
That brings me on to my fantastic point.
A fantastic point. Why? So, manlands.
Yes.
Just because your arpeggio or whatever is in the shape of a llama, why does your land turn into a llama?
Because it
Why does the anchorage
gets
looks
out-
a little bit like a...
gets out the water and is a llama now?
It's got a little bit... I just feel like the manland situation has got exceptionally tenuous of where it's no longer like part of the bog is coming alive. It's
Yes.
like, no, it's actually just a glyph of an ant on the side of a vent, and then apparently it can come alive and bite you. No, try harder, wizards. Try harder. It's very like, what is it? Restless Bivouac. The amount of people that go, so what's happening with this? How is it turning into an ox? Why is it turning into an ox? And then where does the ox go when the ox is finished being an ox?
Yeah.
You know? Now that for me isn't very grokkable flavour. You're just getting deep in on your
No,
your
I'm
cards,
listening.
aren't
I'm
you?
listening.
No, I'm not saying anything. It's more that I'm just interested to see.
So here we go. So this is a good one. Dowsing device turning into Geode Grosso. So dowsing device, 1 and a red. Whenever dowsing device or another artifact enters battlefield on your control, up to one target creature you control gets +1/+0, gains haste until the end of turn. Transform it if you control 4 or more artifacts. God, it's very wordy.
Yeah.
And it transforms into Geode Grosso, which is a cave, land. But the flavor text, a little innovation can lead to a big score. Admiral Beckett Brass. I fucking love that Admiral Beckett Brass has got more to do in this set. She's obviously heading up a commander deck.
And she's in the side story as well. So if you do want to find out and listen to her voice and hear her perspective on everything, you can go and read that up in Pawns. I do think it's quite cool that a lot of the transform cards transform into caves because they go from the spell or the whatever they're doing and then they're going down into the cave. So obviously there's a lot of cave synergy and mechanics in the set as well. This one, for example, twists and turns. A single green for an enchantment. If a creature would explore, instead you scry one and then explore. The idea if you've got multiple angles and which ones do you choose. When it enters the battlefield, target creature you control explores, and when a land enters the battlefield under your control, if you control 7 or more lands, if you've explored enough, you transform it into Mycoid Maze. And the idea is you go through all these twists and turns, and you end up lost anyway.
Yeah.
I like that.
Very
That's
cool.
really cool. Really cool. The rare in this one was Dire Flail. Another craft with artifact, which I guess is an equipment. It gives +2/+0, really cheap cost to do so for 5 mana, 2 of which being red. You craft with an artifact, and you turn it into Dire Blunderbuss, which I guess is you've turned this handheld weapon into a projectile weapon, which is quite cool. The equipped creature gets +3/+0.
Getting so much closer to Guns and Magic is unreal.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't get. I mean, we are going to the Thunder,
Thunder Junction.
Yeah, Thunder Junction, which
Thunder Junction.
Pew. Like, there's no way Again, we've had finger guns already in this last couple of years. Let's be honest. Exactly. I thought you were out of my skull bashing. Oh, you thought you were out of my skull bashing range, didn't you? As he fires a gun. To be fair, imagine like being like a normal like denizen of a plane, and then suddenly guns are invented. I mean, we weren't obviously alive during the time of human progression of when that was happening, but watch The Last Samurai and you see swords ain't as good as miniguns, apparently. Or Gatling guns, I should say.
Right. Yeah. So we've got 4 packs each because there are 8 set boosters in a bundle. I feel like I'm doing an advert for Wizards of the Coast.
Isn't this entire podcast an advert for Wizards of the Coast?
Do you know who is on an advert for this set?
Oh, fucking Dreadmore.
No.
No?
Adam the Gathering.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, I like that. No, I
Yeah.
thought the card in your hand, because that's a Dreadmore thing.
So I've just got, literally on the back, I have immediately not looked through this pack, but I've pulled the token out the back. Gnome Soldier, which is a token artifact creature gnome soldier. So let's talk about gnomes and golems.
Yes.
There are many gnomes in this set, and there are
Yes.
many golems. I'm not going to look up how many are in each one. I'm not prepared for it. What I am prepared for is that there seems to be this the gnomes throughout Magic are basically tiny automatons, or automatons that are akin to servos.
Yeah, they're a little. Yeah, they're cute. I mean, I think. Well, yeah,
But they're not. They're the Thousand
No,
Sons.
they are exactly as you say. They're very much like servos.
Yeah. So why are they not servos, or why were the servos in Kaladesh not gnomes?
Why aren't they constructs if they're not constructed?
And are golems, because golem is something that's used interchangeably. I think golem will be the next thing to go if Naga's gone, because golems are a part of the Jewish tradition and faith.
Oh, true, yeah.
And they are very misappropriated all over the fucking shop.
I think golems also exist within Greek culture as well, though.
Yeah, I suppose, but just not in the way. I don't know. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
But the fact that they've got golems here, maybe golems are natural formations of
feel like
Cosmium.
Golems are more magical created, where as in like they come as like almost like elementals. But because they're built from rock or from metals, which also come from the earth, they're considered to be golems rather than being elementals. Whereas gnomes, I think, are more deliberately man-made and artificial. That's my distinction.
On the back of this token, there is a weird pop art card that says eventually we'll get to Colossal Dreadmore, and it's got a QR code. What the fuck does the QR code bring me to? You're watching old men open up magic cards and...
Oh, we didn't talk about the special guest cards at all. Look how pretty the star compass is.
Oh yeah, there's like mana crypt and stuff in this.
Yeah, we haven't even actually properly... We briefly mentioned it. We haven't even talked about the Jurassic Park. Yeah, let's see if we open one, I guess. But,
yeah. I can't get the QR code to work.
Well, here's a card that makes... Oh, it alludes to making the golems in the process of doing so. Fabrication Foundry. Is that making a gnome or is that making a golem?
Gnome?
Yeah, right? I guess.
Okay, maybe that's workable. Look at that art card, straight away.
Stunning. Oh no, the art cards for this are really cool as well. Here's Beckett Russ.
Oh, lovely.
Wonderful. Lovely.
Poison Dark Flower, go down there. Earthshaker Dreadmore. Full art. Swooping Pterodon. There we go. That's a...
Oh, you got one.
That's a Jurassic Park card. So I've got a Swooping Pterodon attacking a tourist.
That's lifted directly out of Jurassic World film,
yes,
right?
it is, yeah. Earthshaker Dreadmore.
I like how your investment on which dinosaurs are based on which film it's from.
I didn't mind Jurassic World.
At least you're holding true to the if it's relevant to me, I like it, and if it's not, I don't. Which is exactly how I think Universes Beyond are supposed to work anyway.
So my rare is Molten Collapse, which is black and a red sorcery. Choose one. If you descended this turn, you may choose both instead. So there are payoffs to descending, which I quite like, and also builds up on sort of like graveyard strategies in a new way.
I think also flavor-wise, it's kind of the idea is that if the thing collapses, it does both instead of you choosing. Destroy
target creature or planeswalker. Destroy target non-creature, non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less.
So basically destroy a few trinkets or a token.
Not bad.
This one's Fabrication Foundry. 1 and a white for an artifact. Tap, add white. Spend this mana only to cast an artifact spell or activate an ability of an artifact source. 2 and a white, tap, exile 1 or more artifacts you control with total mana value X. Return target artifact card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. It's a white version of Goblin Welder / Goblin Engineer / whatever the other one was. Come on, there's a third one, isn't there? No.
Scrap
Welder.
Scrap Welder.
There we go. Well done, sir.
Dinotomaton. A dinosaur gnome.
That's so stupid. It's so stupid. Oh god! Now, dinosaur's the latest thing that you could just like Hydra or like I don't know. I can't remember what the other ones we came up with. It's like you could just add it as a suffix to the creature type, and suddenly it just gets infinitely more interesting.
I think, by the way, the traditional podcast has ended. If you just want to listen to us opening up booster packs,
exactly. You can bugger.
you can listen to us for the next 10 minutes. That's fine. Here we go. Pack 3.
Ooh. Oh, fantastic. The lands in this set. The basic lands in this set. So it's another version of Full Art. And
I've got one too.
Oh, the one that I opened as well. So I think it's interesting because the first time I opened the pack, if it wasn't for the fact that the land was foil, I genuinely would have looked at it and thought it was an advert. The way it's kind of set out, the way it looks, it does not feel like it's a card you're supposed to play, especially since it comes directly after the art card. It feels like it's just another art card. So it's again, a little jarring, a little bit of a question of when does a magic card stop feeling like a magic card and when does the land stop feeling like a land. This is pushing it a little bit. The formatting's different. I think art style-wise, they're delightful, but again, they might not be your cup of tea. I think that's the same with most of the full art land treatments, is that it will be a chalk or cheese situation. Like you'll either love it or you won't be too into it at all. Which is fine. They're going to keep trying. I'm really glad that they do. At the worst case scenario, oh no, it's another basic land that you were never going to keep anyway. Whatever.
This booster pack is 1,000 Moons, the booster pack. I've got 1,000 Moons Infantry, 1,000 Moons Crackshot, both of which are human soldiers. I've got an Adaptive Gem Guard and a Cogwork Wrestler.
What is he
he's doing a little wrestling.
Oh my god,
pose.
He's actually wrestling posing.
Yeah, that's kind of cute. Years of adventure and adversity on the open seas did not prepare Brog for the humiliation of losing to a sparring match with a Cogwork doll less than half his size.
So what they're doing on the inside is, do you reckon they're really do you reckon they're just bored and they're like, well, there's not much to do in this tiny little Dyson sphere world. Should we wrestle gnomes?
Professional wrestlers?
Isn't that just cockfighting but with a different form of creature?
Cog fighting?
Cockfighter, nice.
Nice. My rares
Ooh.
in this set. So, firstly, I've got an uncommon legendary, which is Zoyowa Lava Tongue. We haven't spoken much about the goblins, but this one's a goblin warlock.
I think, again, goblins should be... I think a lot of goblin shamans should probably be goblin warlocks. They should have errated a lot of them.
I got Anim Pakal, 1000th Moon. I said this was the 1000 Moons booster pack. So we saw in the story, and she's basically the leader of the 1000 Moons, and sort of, I guess, the defense force of the old tech as well. She is a very cool character, and the Chris Ryan artwork... She is quite handsome in it, I must say. Very cool character. Whenever you attack with one or more non-gnome creatures, put a 1/1 counter on Anim Pakal, then create a 1/1 colourless gnome artifact creature tokens that are tapped to attacking, where X is the number of 1/1 counters on Anim Pakal. So it's like I guess it's like a support force. The more like humans that go into the fray, the more gnomes come out to like support them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty cool. And then my foil, Resplendent Angel at Mythic Rare.
Oh!
Get fucked!
Show me. Does it look pretty? Oh, it looks very pretty, doesn't it? Oh, she's very pretty.
Guess which deck that's
going
going in.
Karlov, isn't it?
It's going in Karlov, mate!
Oh, great.
It's like one of those cards which I was like, I can't really spend 12 quid on that card, because it's good, but maybe it's not. It's just a win more card.
Yeah, exactly. If your deck's already gaining 3 that much life...
Now that I've just been kind of gifted one in a booster pack.
Oh no, what a shame.
Yeah, oh well. I guess it's going. And then I also got a set, what do you call it? A list card.
Oh, cool.
Dirt Water Wraith.
I forget there's a list card still in sets.
Dirt Water Wraith from Oasis, I guess.
Mirage.
Oasis.
Yeah. So it's funny because you got the 1000 Moons pack. I got the Vampire fucking Legion of Dusk pack. First of all, I got really confused because I thought Bartolome del Presidio was a foreign card because it is just Spanish words. And then weirdly enough, I've got Malicious Eclipse, which is the story spotlight of where Aklazot starts reforming Chimil, reforming the cage around Chimil. And
Very
then
cool.
back to back, I've got Canonized in Blood, which is the moment Vito starts transforming, and then immediately afterwards, Bitter Triumph as he gets stabbed through the chest.
Oh, sure.
So back to back, here's the beginning, and here's how he died.
Yeah.
So that's
I'm
quite
winning.
cool.
Oh, no.
And these 4 cards went literally 4 uncommons back to back of Malicious Eclipse, Bartolome, Canonized in Blood, and Bitter Triumph. I don't know if these are specifically weighted packs, but it feels, off the back of those 2, it feels a little bit.
I feel like theme packs.
Yeah, exactly.
Pack number 4, last pack. Oh, I got the art card of the planes, and they're almost identical.
Exactly the same. Yeah.
They're almost identical.
Some of the art cards have the gold signature on them as well, don't they?
Yes, to make them sort of even more collectible. Basking Capybara, I fucking love it.
Good old Capybara. Show me a Capybara that isn't basking.
Uchenbabak, the Great Mistake.
The Great Mistake?
Legendary creature, black, blue, skeleton horror.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's really cool.
That's madness. Vigilance, Menace, Descend 8. 4 black, blue, return Uchenbabak, the Great Mistake, from your graveyard to the battlefield. With a finality counter on it, activate only if there are 8 or more permanent cards in your graveyard, only as a sorcery.
So this is one of the victims of, man, I really wish this card got a specific story on it because... It's just it's your signpost uncommon for the 2 colour combination, but it would be cooler if we got a bit more information.
Then I got Alt Art Captain Lannery Storm.
And then I can see the one that's in the middle.
Alt Art Huatli Poet of Unity.
Oh my god.
Holy
that's
crap.
Stunning.
And it's an alt art on the saga as well.
Yeah.
So this is Ladania as the artist. And then Sunken Citadel is my just regular rare, I guess.
That's very good as well.
So Sunken Citadel is one of the land caves. Enters the battlefield tapped. As it enters, choose a colour. Add 1 mana of chosen colour. Add 2 mana of the chosen colour. Spend this to only activate abilities of land sources. I mean, there's a lot of debate about Sunken Citadel. Good or bad?
It's a come into play tapped land, so it depends if you don't mind the tempo loss. Am I going to put it in Tasker because I've got lots of activated abilities in it? I'm not sure. I didn't put Blossoming Tortoise in because reducing the cost by 1 isn't enough, and that only allows you to pay 1 more of the cost. So, again, deck dependent. Every card is playable in the right deck. So, I think averagely playable, probably not. But I think it has a place. Definitely has a place. Well, let me quickly check this artist. I think they have a bunch of cards in this set as well.
When Huatli, Poet of Unity, enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic land card. Reveal it to put it into your hand, then shuffle. So for 3 mana, it's a grab a land card. And then 3 Boros hybrid. Exile her Whatley, then return to the battlefield, transformed under your own control, activate only as a sorcery. So she comes back in as a Saga, love Sagas, Roar of the Fifth People. Chapter 1, create 2 3/3 green dinosaur tokens. Chapter 2, Roar of the Fifth People gains creatures you control add green, red, or white, so Naya colours. Chapter 3, search your library for a dinosaur, reveal it, put it into your hand and shuffle. And then Chapter 4, dinosaurs you control gain double strike and trample until end of turn. So that sort of screams to me like this is Huatley's doing another dinosaur deck, but I kind of feel like you could absolutely have her just as like a Naya good stuff and then just happen to have some good dinosaurs in there, right?
Absolutely. I think a lot of people also assumed because of the way the card read, and it got revealed very, very early on, I think it was one of the first 5 cards read, it was like, is she going to die? Because the song requires her to no longer be on the battlefield. And is it like they sing her song afterwards? And obviously in the story, she doesn't die, she's fine. But it's interesting that they kind of led that kind of one of those cards that kind of had an open flavour to it, but then it didn't actually end up. So this is why I don't always read to the exact specificities of a card, because it doesn't always describe what's going to happen in the story.
That card was fucking beautiful.
Weirdly, back-to-back, I've got Belligerent Yearling, which is the full art version, the alternate art, and I bring this up because Siddharth... Chatravardi, fantastic, lovely. He's done, or they've done, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12... 14 different dinosaur artworks from the set. Again, they've got a very distinctive art style, heavy brushwork, kind of almost the opposite to what the alternate artworks were in Midnight Hunt, of where there's very little definition on the lineage around the outside.
Sure.
And they also did a bunch of the alternate arts in March of the Machines, of where again it's that really reduced, whited out version of the cards. Of where
there's a Rustic Studies episode by Magic Man Sam who focuses on Siddharth. Yeah,
wonderful. Yeah, and again their art style is fantastic. It's nice to see them do stuff that has a bit more palette involved, where it's got a background, it really pops. And again, there is an argument to say that after a while, all these dinosaurs start looking the same. I don't think that's an artist issue. I just think that's an issue of there's only so many kinds of dinosaur.
Lizards, isn't it?
You know, thank you. Sorry, dragons, whatever. And then interesting, because I had Belligerent Yearling, and then afterwards, as your rare for the pack, is the Belligerent. Which again, why is this in this set? It wasn't in the story. It's not in the set. Like, it looks cool.
I think people just liked it a lot more from the last time we were at Ixalan than they thought we would.
Well, they really wanted to ship Jason Braska. It kind of happened, and in the absence of them being in the story, they just decided to put their actual ship just over the waterfall, which is what's happening in the artwork.
It's a vehicle as well. That can be your commander, can't it?
No, it has to say, because it's not a creature until...
I thought Heart of Kieran can be your...
No, Heart of Kieran can't. Shurikai can, because it specifically says at the bottom, this can be your commander. Because they're not creatures inherently. They have to be converted into creatures. That's why their power and toughness is in white when the rest of the box is in black.
Oh.
Because it's not actually truly a creature. Cool. That was fun. It's nice opening packs. Again, I think this is a really cool set. I'd like to play it a little bit from a limited environment. It does seem, and we've spoken to someone who did a couple of pre-releases, complexity creep is really a thing. Like, I feel, especially when you have more and more sets which automatically have... God, there's a lot of bats in this set, isn't there? Jesus Christ.
There's a lot of bats for a non-Innistrad set.
Yeah, I feel like complexity-wise, most cards have a lot of text on them. I was going to have a bit of a moan and try and see if, like, does that mean that we haven't got as much flavour text? But actually, the set does have a fair amount of flavour text. I think as much as any other recent set would have. Even all the cards that have craft, the craft takes the place of the flavour text, but you tend to have flavour text on the reversey side as well. So I think that's kind of okay. The only other thing we didn't really talk about from a mechanical point of view is map tokens. Yet another predefined token.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's an artifact that does a thing. This one, instead of gaining life or whatever the other ones do, drawing a card, making mana, this one explores, which is fine. I think it's cool. It's a good way again to churn through the deck to give any of your creatures a little bit of a boost. I think it's quite nice. A map token, exploring. God, it makes sense, really, doesn't it? Makes sense. It's weird that it wasn't in the set, in the original set, I think. But...
No, but they had actual maps, didn't they?
Well, yeah, treasure map and all the other ones. Yeah, it made sense. So yeah, it's a cool set.
Let us know via Twitter at MTFlavouring what your favourite cards from the set is, and have you held any in your hands yet? This will probably come out on Tuesday the 21st. So, yeah, this was recorded on Sunday the 19th. So let us know if you've had a chance, or how you did it pre-release and all that kind of jazz. You can find myself at AndyManface. Nathan, you are
at the Fox and the Moon.
Emails go to mtflavouring@gmail.com. Have you completed Breath of the Wild yet?
I completed Breath of the Wild a long time ago.
Oh, I've still not
You
done
mean
the final
Tears of
boss.
the Kingdom? Kingsley.
Oh, I do mean Tears.
Oh dear.
I do mean
Wah,
Tears of the
wah.
Kingdom.
Do you know what happens in the final boss battle?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, same. I haven't beaten it.
I haven't actually done it yet.
But I know
There's
exactly
just,
what happens.
I just potter around.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I know it's over there.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I've spent so much time not like gaining all of the resources to be like, cool, I can go and get the best weapons and shore myself up to make sure I'm fine. Like I don't cook very much in the game either, so it's one of these like I can't just go and give it a go. I want to like prepare enough. And from what I can tell, it's really, really cool. And I did the mistake of one day I went, right, conquer your fear right now. There were two big fear gatekeeping, gate doors, gateways, gate locks, whatever. There were two big thresholds in the game for me, like getting over being scared in games. One of them was the Maelstrom, which is one of the first temples you're supposed to go through. And I was like, I can't deal with it. I don't like Expanse. I don't like height with Expanse. I'm like, I made sure that the camera was always facing away from the big swirly windy stuff. So by the time I was on top of it, I was like, it's fine now, I'm on top of it. I don't have to worry about it. Because in my mind, I'm like, I know how scary that would be. And then the other one was jumping down the big, giant, massive hole. But then after doing, what is it? Not Mount Doom, fuck.
Doom Mountain.
No,
Death Mountain.
Death Mountain, thank you. God, terrible, terrible nerds. After diving into Death Mountain, I went, well, it can't be as bad as that. And then I just basically ran past, screaming past everything. No light lights, no, avoid
light lights
everything.
can go fuck themselves. I don't know why this turned into Zelda chat, but yeah, just thought it was interesting because I think this is a much slower burn of a Zelda than the last one where people were just like bolting towards the end.
Well, because you could. It was much easier to speed run the first game than this one. I mean, if you're really good at the game, you can break it in half and go out of bounds and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I've still barely got through the DLC of Violet. So.
Thank you so much for listening. This has been Magic the Flavour.
I'll see you soon.